Hi everyone, I'm instructional designer Simone Christian. I work primarily in the Notre Dame of Maryland School of Nursing, but I am available for assistance to faculty and staff across the university, especially if you're in need of assistance with multimedia design in your courses online or face-to-face or hybrid, technology enhanced pedagogy, and also applying adult learning theory, so applying andragogy to. So before we begin, I want to turn your attention to the Suddenly Online Survey, a national survey of undergraduate students during the COVID-19 pandemic. So this past semester, 1,600 plus undergrads were surveyed. The top findings in this research study were that social interaction in the online classroom directly correlates to student achievement. And when students have a sense of community and belonging, it results in a positive attitude regarding the online class experience. So there's actual quantifiable results from being socially engaged in their online class, and then there are perception positives that happen if they feel better about the class. If they feel like they're part of a community, then they feel better about the overall online class. So I'll share this with you later. Before I jump into the discussion forums we're going to cover, I want to just throw out a couple definitions. So synchronous discussions, this is the immediate exchange of messages in real time. It's best used for sharing ideas. It's best used for sharing for brainstorming. So these are online discussions that participants have to be present at the same time in order to participate. Participants are online and they're actively involved. And these can really be the virtual classroom experience. This can be a live text chat like you have in Joule or in Moodle. And a few of our professors actually use this one. And this can also be face to face. So synchronous discussions. Now, asynchronous discussions are very much the same, but they don't necessitate an immediate exchange in real time. So participants are able to show their preferences through relevant questions and queries and being actively engaged and able to respond to their peers' posts in a timely manner. And an example of an asynchronous discussion would be our existing text-only online discussion boards. So this is what we're doing today, and we'll have the opportunity to try out one of the discussion board types that we cover. We're going to explore a variety of discussion protocols. Again, practice a little bit. We're going to devise best options for different academic subject areas, so course-specific discussion types. And at the end, time permitting, we'll take a peek at an asynchronous video discussion forum. So the options are numerous, and each one has its unique benefits. I'm going to cover fishbowl debates, small group share, also known as think, pair, share, the consultancy protocol, whip rounds, and time permitting, an alternative to our self-introductions. In looking at each, we'll give you an example, explain the rationale, and suggest academic topic areas where these will work well. So first up we have fishbowl debates, and this is basically a smaller group of students discusses or debates a topic while the rest of the class observes the process, or they can actually take turns entering the fishbowl to participate. An online debate can be set up between two teams to argue a subject that's up for discussion. It's a useful way to allow for weekly participants by all learners in the course, and the pairs or teams will change weekly. Observers can elect to tap in or tag in and take the place of one of the debate participants. Now, the rationale for fishbowl debates is that they work well to practice skills in critical thinking. They're one way that students can sharpen their research and communication skills. Debate is very effective to actively engage students. Even the audience members become actively engaged in listening, maybe in posing questions toward the end, or maybe in trying to tag in to make their point into the fishbowl. Now, when these fishbowl debates work, you can. Now, debate works well across many academic disciplines. Poli-sci, business, economics, engineering, healthcare, and medicine, law, history, theology. These are all great places to apply this one. Next up, we have small group share or think pair share. So in this type of discussion, the instructor introduces a challenge, question, or scenario. Students have time to individually reflect on their response before breaking out into their small groups, into their pairs or three or quads to a group or quints to a group. And they have a set amount of time to discuss the challenge, question, or scenario, come up with some results. The pairs then report out on their conversation to the larger group, and the larger group can ask questions on this group's report. How you can do this asynchronously is that you have the small group participate in a discussion among themselves, and then they create a 2 to 3 paragraph response to your initial prompt and post that final version to the class discussion. So the 3 or 4 people in a group, there's one submission. And then questions can come from the other groups on that final post, and they can respond back and forth. The rationale behind this is that the small group shared discussion type provides opportunities for learners to practice in a small group, practice their delivery, practice their understanding or grasp of the content. They get feedback from the individuals in their group, of course. Another bonus here is that it reduces the artifacts to grade as each small group produces just one final product. And the small group shared discussion type is easily adaptable in small or large classes. You just select maybe just the pair if you have 8 numbers of each group, depending on the size of your classes. So that's a really good one. Now, when does small group share or think pair share really work? This works because it's a great way to have a discussion with a small group or with a large group. This works well as a discussion activity across any academic discipline. So next up we have the consultancy student facilitated discussion protocol. And this is a student-led discussion that occurs with minimal input from the instructor. One or more students present a dilemma or a question to be discussed, and the other students talk to each other about the dilemma presented. The student facilitators will present responses and rebuttals to the group for their consideration, and they can go back and forth. Now, in an asynchronous way to do this, you would have your student facilitator select, let's say this is mathematics, have your student facilitator select one of the designated problem sets and submit them to you beforehand, their solutions, before the rest of the class have to do them. And then as the facilitator, they would then look at the other student submissions and post their solutions and also their feedback to the other students. And let's take a look at what this looks like. So for problem sets, if this is a written mathematical example, a student can submit their answer to question 18A, get feedback from the peer facilitator, and also 18B. There's their response, and here's more feedback from their peer facilitator. Now, the rationale behind this, the consultancy student facilitation discussion, is that these discussions provide learners with an opportunity to do a peer review, either written or this in a synchronous setting. It can be set up so the facilitator gets feedback from the instructor, from you, on their own responses before they review their peers. And all learners get the opportunity to practice the material. By the end of the course, all learners have had an opportunity to provide feedback to their peers. So this is something that changes on a weekly or class-by-class basis. When does this work? This works well when learners need to solve problem sets for practice. Really great in mathematics and statistics, really works well in chemistry, computer science, engineering, and physics courses. So next up is the whip round discussion protocol. Now, whip round is British slang. It means passing the hat around, which is American slang, to collect money. Each individual contributes a little bit, and in the end we have a substantial amount. So I like calling these whip rounds, but you can also call them challenge questions. And think of a whip round or challenge question as a mini case study. A brief scenario is presented by the instructor, and the learners are asked, how would you handle this situation? So think of it as a drill type exercise. The instructor sets up the forum by posing the question. Learners reply with a solution. Learners can also comment on the replies of their classmates, but this is one where you would just go around the room, around the virtual room. Haha. So these are a few examples from a cross-section of academic areas. In a speech pathology class, for example, the question might be, how would you communicate a new diagnosis of autism to a parent? In research methods, the question might be, describe the difference between statistical significance and clinical significance. In HR management, the question may be, what are the preceded case? And lastly, in a social work class, how do you recognize the signs of child neglect? Now, the rationale for a whip round or challenge question discussion would be that these present a scenario based on a situation learners could encounter in the real world. They've got to think on the fly. They've got to apply problem solving. They've got to apply decision making and rationalize their decisions. So where would a whip round or challenge question work? The academic disciplines that spring immediately to mind are in law, business, marketing and communications, in healthcare, medicine, biology, social work, psych, engineering. These are areas where something like this would really work well. However, using case studies, if you've used them in your classes, can you think of a place or time or scenario where you could use something where students have to think fairly quickly and come up with a problem solution? Now, next up we have the student showcase. The student showcase forums work in conjunction with a major course assignment. So students upload the project they want to showcase. It could be a video, an image, an infographic, an audio recording, what have you. They upload it with a description or an introduction. Other learners then provide constructive feedback to them. Here's an example of one. So let's say students have to showcase their history project masterpiece by sharing it with the rest of the class. And the following note is that the best way to share the video podcast or narrated PowerPoint is to upload it to a hosting site like YouTube or Google Drive. And the respondents are asked to provide helpful, constructive feedback to the showcases using the RISE model. The feedback should provide enough detail so that students showing their work can use it to make improvements to their new project. So that's one example of a showcase. I've seen these, several of these actually in undergraduate coursework in nursing, in biology, and even in computer science. So the rationale here is that this provides an opportunity for learner-to-learner active engagement in a course. This provides an opportunity for learners to show off their project, show off the work they've done, and allows them to practice giving and receiving constructive feedback and using it to improve their work. Student showcases work best where learners demonstrate their knowledge or skill by completing a large class project. They work well across any academic discipline. Okay, and this is the last one. I didn't think we'd have time, but we do. So mixing up your introductions. It offers different ways to conduct learner introductions in an online course, such as anonymous polling of students in the class and then reporting out the results, posting an introduction video, or even creating an infographic to introduce yourself. And that's one that I have used in an undergraduate class. So the example that I have is this Flipgrid that I use just as a test, because there are no students in it, to show how class introductions can be done in a writing class. So I will just share a little clip of that and scrolling through Flipgrid, and then we are done.
Hello, welcome to Nursing 306, Writing for Professionals. I'm Diane Aschenbrenner, the course coordinator. This is an online course, and online courses can feel isolating to some students. To overcome this, I'd like for you to begin by introducing yourselves before we jump into our academic writing activities. In 2 minutes or less, please tell us a bit about you, a bit about your work, how you would rate your writing skills, and what do you think are your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to writing.
What's up, party people? Really want me? Oh, I'm sorry. You really want me to answer the question? I'm Radnita. I am assistant professor here in the School of Nursing. I would rate my writing skills of about an 8 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Hi, my name is Natalie Van Horn, and I am the enrollment manager for the School of Nursing here at Notre Dame of Maryland University. So I recruit our undergraduate adult nurses in the RN to BSN and our graduate nursing students in the MSN program.
Tell me about myself. I'm Sue. I work at Johns Hopkins. I rate my writing a 10 and my strengths and weaknesses. It's funny, I forgot that.
Hi, my name is Jim Culhane. I am the Assistant Dean for Student Academic Success Programs at Notre Dame of Maryland University School of Pharmacy. I'm also a professor in the Pharmaceutical Sciences Department. I've been at Notre Dame for 11 years, and part of my role here is to teach pharmacology and medicinal chemistry within the pharmacy.
Hi, I'm Jane Balcom, and I am a faculty member at Notre Dame of Maryland School of Nursing. And so I teach nursing as to what I do. I would rate my writing skills as actually quite good. I've had lots of experience with writing.